Hey, 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 it's Ronai, and I'm so excited. I'm here with Shannon. It is our Be the Light Wednesday, and today is Ash Wednesday. And this is my first Ash Wednesday. I mean, obviously not my first, but my first that I'm understanding or learning more about Ash Wednesday. So, Shannon, tell me about Ash Wednesday and what Lent
Uh,
is, because this is a new thing for me.
so Ash Wednesday signifies the beginning of Lent, um, which is kind of a repentance period in preparation for Easter Sunday. So it starts on Ash Wednesday. I believe it ends on like Holy Thursday. Then you have Good Friday. Then you have Resurrection Sunday. And so it's this period of time where we repent, pray, we fast um, in preparation for the crucifixion
Okay, so we're not fasting
and the
like Jesus.
resurrection,
We're not fasting like
more
Jesus
importantly.
fasted for 40 days where he didn't eat anything for 40 days. Like
No,
that's
I mean, you get, so to be honest with you, you get a big variety of people, what they do and what they believe. I have had personal friends who literally fast the whole time and they pray, they drink water, potentially add in some electrolytes, and most people will choose something to give up, a favorite food, a favorite drink, a favorite something, TV, social media. Like it's kind of expanded into this time of people choose to fast from something that maybe takes some work, takes some effort, gives them more time to focus on prayer and connection in preparation for Easter.
so give up something that would be hard for them to give up, not just something like, oh, I'm gonna not do my taxes for 40 days.
Right, right. Usually you'll see people do things like TV, social media, pop, fast food, or eating out. Just something that we do so easily and quickly and conveniently, which tend to be the harder things to give up. It takes a little more thought, a little more preparation. That's what I tend to see. So, yeah, give up sugar. That's one too.
Maybe
So,
that's the one I should do because that one would be tough for me. I've given
yeah.
up sugar in the past and it always makes me feel better when I do it, but and then for some reason I start again. And so um yeah, I guess that would be
I
it.
think the important piece, in my opinion, now, I mean, let us disclaim I am by no means a professional. So it's no, not a preacher, haven't gone to school for, but the idea is not to, the idea is to give up something in an effort to connect and prepare um, with God during this season. So the idea is not to use it as a kind of like, the Monday New Year dieting philosophy. Like, this would be a great time to go on a diet because I can use Lent as a reason to, do something. So it's more about sacrificing something
Something that you really like.
with the goal of bringing you closer in relationship, connecting spiritually during this time of preparation
Very cool.
towards Easter.
Yeah, I it's one of those that kind of snuck up on me and then
I know it seems so early this year, and I don't know that it really is, but
well, part of it is it's snowing outside right now. And so that always makes it like it warmed up and now it's snowing. And it's like, false, false spring, second
yeah.
winter, or is it third winter at this point?
Which you knew was coming because there was no way the 50, it's funny how we can have 50-degree weather this time of year and somehow that isn't the out of the ordinary thing. It's when the snow comes back that it's like, I can't believe this is happening. And it's like, the 50-degree weather was a little more the can't believe this is happening
Oh,
piece.
yeah, no. I was very prepared for that. And I think
Uh,
it's so interesting how just like you're saying, like, oh, that's so, why is it snowing again? No,
yeah,
first off, it's actually here in Minnesota, we kind of need that for our trees and our plants to do well. The last couple
yeah,
years, our trees and plants have not done well because we haven't had that deep freeze and that that
Reset.
longer reset. And I
Yeah.
think so often for us, we get anxious for that spring, we get anxious for the, but we have to go through those struggles and those trials,
Yeah.
right? So that we can get the good stuff. So, same thing. Like in life, we need to go through those struggles and those trials so that we can get to the good stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm excited to learn more and to get closer with my Savior this time of year. Um,
So will you be going to any Wednesday services? Most churches will have separate services on Wednesday.
there's actually a bunch of churches here in Maple Grove
Hmm.
are getting together tonight. And so
Oh,
my plan is to go to that. Now, I didn't sleep much last night because I got an invite last night to go to the Minnesota Christian Chamber, which is a brand new thing. I know. They've
like
only had,
Chamber of Commerce chamber?
yes. So
Okay.
they've only had two. And I had to drive down to Burnsville and be there at 7 this morning. For any of y'all know, I live 45 minutes away from there. And so I woke up like 2:20 this morning, couldn't fall back asleep. So I'm hoping to go tonight. But um I'm a little sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Uh and so that I'm trying to figure it out. Also, we have a women's event at church on Friday night. And so I'm trying to figure out like my timing because also I have family obligations that I need to take care of. So
So
I
how was the Christian Chamber event?
it was amazing. It was so I've never been to a chamber event.
Burnsville.
Like I used to do BNI and all that stuff, and it wasn't like
Right.
that at all. First off, started with announcements and then prayer. It was
Yeah.
awesome, right? And then we went around the room, said what we did, um, briefly, but then it was just like say who you are and give us like three or four hobbies that you like to do. And from that, then it was just open networking. And it was really amazing. The person that I met first and ended up sitting next to was somebody who lives in Corcoran, and he got invited last night. And he does this
Wow.
amazing ministry with um, uh, drug addicts and homeless people in the cities. And so they've got this. So I'm learning about that ministry. And then there was a woman there who is just starting up her podcast, and she's got this big ministry that she's starting. And when she and I met, she saw my books and she was like, "Oh, wait, you're an author? Tell me about that." Because 2 years ago, I was told, God told me to write a book. And then recently somebody came up and said, "Where's your book?" And she's like, I haven't written. And this person was like, "You're supposed to have a book already." And so then she's like looking at me and I said, "Well, where's your book? Why haven't you done it?" Right. And so then she and I are talking about how she can get moving forward with her book. It was just this amazing thing that happened. And then there was people over in that corner that we're networking. The next thing you know, they're praying. And over there, the network, and then they're praying. And it's just it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And they don't have one up in the northwest part of the cities. And I'm like, you know what? I think that needs to happen because it's
Yeah.
a brand new thing, just 2 months old in Minnesota.
That so is it a national thing and this is the first Minnesota branch?
I literally learned about it yesterday, uh,
Oh,
evening,
I want to learn more.
yesterday,
Yeah,
right? And so I have information. I will put on here, but I'm seriously thinking,
let's do it,
okay,
Renee, in our spare time. Let's do it.
once a month. And what I'm
No, I mean
saying,
start a Northwest chapter, not just show up.
no, that's what I'm saying. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's what I'm saying. I told her I just right before we got on here, I set up a meeting for the person who started it for next Monday, so I can be like, okay, and how do I start one in the Northwest area?
yeah.
Because they have one in like close to Stillwater, and they have one in Burnsville, but not in the Northwest area. So
I would totally help you do that.
they're starting one in Roseville. Like this is a movement, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited about it. And literally, like I said, the guy who was there is over in Corcoran. So I was like, all right, Maple Grove
Roseville's
area.
not too bad, at least
Roseville's not bad for you.
for me. Yeah.
But for me, Maple Grove, I'm like, I could figure this out. I could help get this
Yeah.
set up. So if you guys are interested in the
Champlin might be a really good area too,
Champlain could work.
because that's
So
not far from Maple Grove. You can go that side of Champlin, that's close to Maple Grove,
yeah,
but then you're still moving a little more out from,
I'm literally on the Champlain, Maple Grove, Dayton, Rogers.
yeah,
I'm right there. So
very cool.
yeah,
That's exciting.
that's that's what I thought. And what's great is for me, I'm trying to connect with people who have teams, but who want to have a Christian focus, or
Right,
connect with church leadership, right? Because that's what I do. That's what my book does. And
right.
I've been praying about it. And when I got the invite, I was like, I've got a client. I had a client late last night, and I usually don't do late night clients, but this is somebody out in California. And I was like, okay, I'll do a later evening. And so I just didn't know if I was going to get up in time. So I didn't
Yeah.
register. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I listened. I'm so glad I woke up and that I went because I have a list of people that came up and they're like, I need your card. And I'm like, I actually don't have a card right now. So I was texting
But you will
people.
by next month.
Yes, I will. Yes, yes, I will. But that it's just amazing. And the people that you meet at this, one was like, oh my gosh. It was this, when I was talking with her, you could tell that her strengths were absolutely executing strategic thinking, like intellection, input, learner, like just all the things. Because she was talking about, and I'm gonna totally get it wrong. I think I wrote it down, but it was all like this chemistry, um, molecular, and she's working on like raising people's vibrations at a molecular level, but it wasn't like woo woo, it was like absolute science. And I
Yeah,
was like, okay, fascinating. And she's like, yes, because if we can raise people's vibrations, we can raise them out of depression and anxiety, get them up into enlightenment. And, but it wasn't done in a way that, like, it was so scientific. And
so cool.
and as she's talking, I was like, you and I could work together, but like literally on the polar opposite sides. But all Christian based. So you knew it wasn't like some woo-woo new age stuff. And
Right.
that was awesome.
Sorry, I'm distracted for a minute because here,
Are you
Frank,
looking it up?
well, Frank, the little chihuahua that, we
Oh,
rescued, he wanted to sit in my lap getting ready for this. And sometimes he just demands attention. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just sneak him up here. And he usually just sits quietly and sleeps the whole time. But he's like got the hiccups or something all of a sudden. So while we're talking, he's like making all these noises. And I'm like, can she hear that? Can everybody hear the noises Frank's making? So
no.
sorry, Frank has gone
Frank's
down to his bed now, but
he's a welcome distraction. Frank's a good dude.
he's, he's so cute. He's just looking at me like, why did you put me down? But
Oh,
sorry
anyway,
about
so
that.
yes, I'm gonna find out information on Monday and then we will talk. So next
Yeah.
Wednesday we'll be talking about how you and I are starting the Northwest chapter.
How exciting to see stuff like that just moving, like people moving just like you did over the last year, people moving forward boldly in their faith and just
Yes.
declaring it and living it, bringing it into business, bringing it back into school, bringing it, not just into Sundays at church. So,
Yeah. And what was great is then now finding other Christian businesses to do business with, right? So
right.
like in Burnsville, I found out that the Minuteman Press, so if I want something printed, Minuteman Press is a Christian based organization.
Really? I was just gonna go check out some stuff with them, so that's good to know.
So I would check and make sure that the local one in your area, but from what I heard there, yes, it's a just kind of like Chick-fil-A or different places.
Interesting.
What was the one that I think we talked about this, but oh my gosh, it's a burger place. We don't have it here.
In-N-Out Burger.
Yes, and how they put scriptures on the wrappers of things. Like I love that. And unapologetically so. I think
Um,
that there is a way, and I wish that everybody could be this way. Like with your religion, you can be unapologetic about it, but not in your face about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I just saw something else about In-N-Out Burger. Something else they were doing, and can't remember what it was, but it was something because of their Christian faith or something. I don't know. It's not going to pop right up. Of course, when you're not looking for it, it pops up on everything you're in. And then when you're looking for it, it's nowhere. But
Of course.
that's how that works. But I think it goes back to it's so cool how um, you see businesses stepping more out into faith and people. I mean, even individuals. So you don't have to, we're talking a lot about business things, but even people as individuals becoming more bold and sharing their faith and in what faith is. It was so funny because we had a friend visiting the other day and he's been struggling with some health issues for like the last year. And my middle daughter was over and we were having breakfast and talking and she's like invited him to church, again. And he's like, he just didn't really want to go to church or whatever. And she's like, you need to have a relationship with Jesus. She's like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't have a relationship with Jesus, and that's a problem. And she just like went right into it. And I'm just like, he looked at me, and I'm like, don't look at me. Like, I'm not gonna like this. You should be listening. This is a good conversation. But do you see more of that where people aren't not necessarily quite as straightforward as my daughter is, but more bold in terms of the nuts and bolts of like this is important. This isn't just hey, and we have fun at youth group and have snacks. Like, have you ever seen that a lot of times as Christians we try and blanket things a little bit so that we can warm people up to the idea. Like we don't want to scare them. So it'll be like, hey, you should come to youth group. It's so fun. Like we just hang out and talk and we have snacks and we like you keep it real low key. Whereas now I feel like I see a lot more young people who are like you need to come because that's where you meet Jesus and you need to meet Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, have you noticed that shift a little bit too?
I have. So I love that there are people who are bold that way.
Yeah.
I also love that there are people who just live that example. And people are like, what
Mm.
is different about you? And that invites in the conversation of, well, actually, that's just the light of Christ shining through me.
Yeah.
You want to know more? Great, I'll invite you. Like, and then I
Yeah.
love that there are people who are uh, again more quiet, like the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Because if people get bold in my husband's face, he's like, and out,
Yeah.
right? But if you are a shining example, he notices those things.
Yeah.
For me, I'm kind of like, depending on the situation, my empathy will tell me whether I need to be more bold or need to back off a little. Um, so that's where I feel out the situation. And if people are asking questions, and I'm like, well, okay, so here's my story. You want God to speak to
Yeah.
you? Just ask.
I think it's I think it's fun for me, particularly in this moment, because the age of my two kids that are still around, and I don't mean still around, they're all still around, but the 26-year-old is a little farther out in her own home doing, whereas the 20-year-old and the 18-year-old, like I see them and talk to them daily, and just to see how much more bold they've gotten in their faith, not just in sharing it, but in living it.
That's
Like
awesome.
teenagers seem like they've really shifted. Bibles and breakfast at their school started with like 20 people and is up to 100 people. And so, like, you see, yeah, I feel like you see a different level of boldness, whether they're in your face or whether they're whatever, but just a different level of boldness of this is who I am and this is what I believe unapologetically. How they share it, like you said, could be completely different, whether they just live it by example or whether they're just out there vocalizing it and evangelizing it. Does it, I think you just see that difference in where they don't. I think there was a period of time where it seemed like a lot of the youth felt like they had to hide anything that didn't fit in.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of my girls' as friends and a lot of people in those age groups where that's shifting. and they're feeling more. I mean, honestly, I think some of it goes back to the Charlie Kirk thing, but even before, because the Bibles and breakfast, the build up at my girls' school is even before Charlie Kirk. So I think it was on the rise prior to that. But I think the Charlie Kirk assassination was, or murder, or whatever it
Yes.
technically is, I think that really made a lot of young people stop and think.
Yeah. It's so funny that I was just going to say that there was a huge shift that happened with Charlie Kirk's death, his murder, his
Yeah,
assassination, however you want to say it. It was bold and traumatic, and people looked at it and they're like, okay, I need to take a side. I need to
yeah,
figure out what's going on. And really, when you started researching into it and really researching and seeing, I think a lot of people didn't like how there was a lot of clips that were pulled and like, look, this shows that he's a racist and he's a
yeah,
bigot and he's all of these things. I think those mean the same thing. Sorry.
yeah.
He, where they would take the clips and then you would have other people go, hold on, let's look at that whole conversation so you can actually.
Right.
And once you started seeing, then people started picking a side and stepping boldly into, you know what, it's okay to have my faith because I want to stand for something. And this younger generation, they need to have purpose. They
Yeah,
don't want to just have a job just because, oh, I need money. They want to have a job that gives them purpose, and the money can be close to nothing as long as it gives them a really good purpose. And that's a
right.
huge shift from our generation where it's like, no, you have a job because you're taking care of your family and you're doing this. Um, so
Well, and our generation was probably one of the first generations where it was like you go to college and you have a career and you have a, I know for me, my high school years, like that was a huge thing. Like it was going more college, more white collar, like not the trades, not the whatever, like 4 year to 6 year degree. And then if you remember, right back then around that time, like all the job postings must have at least a 2 year college degree. Like it was a big thing. Like you could be applying for Target and they're like 2 year degree in associate arts or whatever. And so like it became this huge thing where that defined you. But like you said there now, that's it seems a lot more purpose driven and they'd rather work 3 or 4 part-time jobs and feel purpose and feel um not the sense of so because I think the other thing that came out of our generation, and you can tell me if you feel differently, with all the college and career and all the stuff, was this immense pressure to provide at a certain level, to stay at a job you hate because now you have an income you need, to have two working parents in the house and not one. And it really became a mentality of we can't afford to have a parent stay home until COVID. And then a lot of people figured it out because you had no choice. And now, after COVID, they were saying you have the opposite problem where they couldn't get people to come back to work because they'd figured it
yeah,
out. And most moms, if they don't have to go to work, don't want to go to work. They want to stay with their kids if they can. Not that there's anything wrong with it either way. I
yeah,
happen to be a working mom who chose to go to work because I that's just how God built me. Like, I think I would have ruined my children. Now I think I could do a really good job. Then I don't know that I could have, but
yes. I think that's one of the coolest things about grandkids is it gives you a second chance to be a better mom.
yeah,
Because like when my daughter, and we've talked about this before, when my daughter is tired or whatever, I'm like, and how can I help? Can I bring you a meal? Can I take the kids? Can I,
yeah,
I stopped by today. I just need to drop something off and I ended up being there an hour, right? Read the
yeah,
kids some books and then got the little one down for a nap while she was able to do some dishes. She's like, Mom, thanks. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for letting me come and have this opportunity to spend time with you because I don't have that relationship with my mom
yeah,
that, she's not a and all of this is choices, right? So she's chosen not to be around our family. So, that's the hard part, right? And
Yeah.
and I could have gone that way. I could have gone that way so easily because that was the example I had. And instead, I love that my husband has made sure that my daughter and I have an excellent relationship. He's sacrificed things so that we could have that. And now all of our kids live close. They come over. Um, we have the whole family over like twice a month on Sundays, and the boys are here every Sunday. So it's um
Yeah.
it's amazing when you can get back to those roots and you can get back to just having family around and making home cooked meals if you can, right?
Yeah.
This
And
is
it feels, well, it feels like our generation was also to kind of more the first generation of you felt like you had a choice. Like, I think if you talk to your parents, like I've talked to mine or whatever, it was like, well, that's just what was expected of you. That's just what you did. Like, there was no mentality of I could choose differently than the generation before me.
yeah. But I think our generation was definitely lied to in
Right.
women, you have to be that boss babe. You have the full-time at home and a full-time job, you know.
Right. The
You
yeah, the
make
glass ceiling. Let's break it.
Yeah, you make everything work. And that was a cool conversation I had with my daughter. What helped her to choose to stay home was like, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have chased after all of these jobs or trying to make all this money that I would have stayed home. And right now, I couldn't even
Yeah.
imagine what I would have paid for daycare wise. Like we made it work. My kids never went to daycare, but oof, that
Yeah. My kids went to daycare and it was more expensive than our house. So, but it's funny because, and this has got to be every parent, right? You like, once the kids are out of daycare, everything will be so much, we'll have so much extra money. But those children do not get cheaper as they get older, like at all.
they get
And
into
so,
sports and
yeah, now that they are all adults and starting to pay for their own things and getting more independent, we're just now sort of getting to that place where it's like, oh, this like life is so much more affordable when you're not paying for children. Now we are in the phase where you get the mom,
bounce
my car
backs.
broke down and I can't afford it. Can you buy new tires for me? Or how about two of the three of us get married this year? And like we're in that phase. But yeah, it's interesting because they never get that's a lie. Who if you are listening and you have young children and they are in daycare and somebody is telling you life gets more affordable once
Or,
they get older, they are lying to you.
or once they get out of diapers and you're not paying for diapers. No, kids
Yeah,
are just expensive and it doesn't take money. It takes a whole lot of faith because
yeah,
if you're supposed to have those kids, have them. Don't wait. But
no,
also understand that here's the other thing. You don't have to do all of the things, right? So many people,
yeah,
well, my kid's in this sports and this sports and this. That can be just the runaround for families, right?
yeah.
If the kids are really dedicated to something like that. But I remember when Joey's our oldest, and when he was little, and I was like, okay, we got to put him in little league, right? Because that's what you do, and that's what the neighbors. So we took him, and it was he sat there and he's like watching the ball go by and watching the ball go by, and I was like, and I'm the parent going, get the ball, right? Found out very quickly he was just not a sports kid. It was great. So our money went into lots of books, going to the library, stuff like that, and it worked great. So
Yeah, we messed that up too in our house because we were like, we are not going to be those parents where we're running around everywhere, driving to sports every night of the week, like separating and doing all these things. So we're like, we have this figured out. We're like, we're gonna put them all in Taekwondo. Like they will all be in martial arts together, and then it'll be perfect. Okay, what we did not know is that martial arts is like 5 nights a week with an optional sixth morning on Saturday. And what we did not know is they would get to a point where they would get separated into two classes where we were having to go twice every night instead of once every night. And, and so we did that for like 5 years. They two of them became second degree black belts. So we did that through that whole process of 4 or 5 years to get them to that point, and then they decided they wanted to opt out. But it was like, yeah, that didn't work out the way we saw it working out in our head.
I think the point is do what works for your family. Don't get
Yeah,
pressure from any side or you have to do all these things and your kids won't be well adjusted unless they're in this many sports or this many. No. Right now it's really fun watching my daughter as she's homeschooling. And now this gets expensive in a different way because she's like, okay, in our homeschooling thing, there's this thing about tapping maple trees. When are you going to tap your trees? So we've got trees to tap, we've got chickens, but then yesterday we went someplace where they had goats, and now she's like, ooh, we need goats.
ah,
But like find what works for your family. Put a lot of prayer into it too, right? And I think that's the other thing that's been really cool is to watch prayer come back into families,
yeah.
right? Um, and it's really cute watching my little grandkids fighting over who gets to say prayer when they come to Nene and Pappy's house.
We used to do when our kids were young. We just did this the other day, and everybody looked at us like we were nuts because I don't remember where we were. We were at some family thing, and we were going to do a prayer, and everybody's like, "Who's going to pray?" And we're at somebody else's house, so I don't know how the etiquette works, right? But you're always like waiting for somebody in that house. It's their house. Did they want to lead in prayer? So everybody gets quiet, and we're like, well, we could do one of our prayers. And they're like, what are you talking about? So when we used to sit at the table and eat, we would go through this series of different prayers and they got to pick. And some of them were like these little camp songs. And some of them were like, there are all these different things. I'm like, we could sing.
Like the
And so,
Johnny Appleseed.
yes, yeah, Johnny Appleseed was one of them actually. And
Okay,
so we would do all those different things. But I think I agree to your point. Be authentically you and create a family that's authentically your family. There is no one answer. There is no right answer. And if I get a vote, I think instead of goats, because I heard they can have a lot of hoof problems and be really high maintenance. I think you should do a miniature milking cow.
I want a miniature milking cow so bad.
Yeah, I mean,
But we'd have to build a shed, like a cow barn,
you're
stuff like
super
that.
good at building things. It's a small cow. It's not a big barn. It's a miniature monkey. They just need to have their little stable. It's like a she shed. You just go like what you build for your son. You can just put another shed next to it for the cow and then have the little walk-up station. And the other cool thing that I want one day when we have a property is a miniature donkey.
I have a friend whose family raises miniature donkeys, and they're actually really, what she says is they're really great emotional
Watchdogs.
support animals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard they're really good at protecting the land and the property and the animals. Like if bears or anything come around, they're super noisy and they like
Well,
scare
that would be
everything
great.
off.
This is why we don't have a miniature cow and we don't have goats because we have bears that come through our property and eat everything. So,
Problem solved. Just get a miniature donkey to go with them. And then you can have like a little petting zoo. See, look,
oh
now
man.
now we've turned it into an income. You just need to have a little pumpkin patch because you already have your trail. And then there's just a little miniature petting zoo for small stay-at-home families who do the activities together. Because, stay at home when they, not stay at home, homeschooling, they have all their little groups that can get together. You can be one of the field trips for homeschooling families.
There we go. World problems solved right there.
Just, you're welcome. I'll be here all day. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, I love it.
You know how these are all great solutions to happen on your property.
My property is not that big.
I mean, I'll make flyers. I'll help with the advertising.
And we can advertise it at our Christian Chamber event that happens monthly.
Yeah, and there's homeschooling Facebook groups. I'm just saying. Then you could have a Santa Wonderland where they could walk through snowy trails in the winter. You can
You know that
have,
we don't do Santa at our house. Never have.
well, but you could do Winter Wonderland. You wouldn't have to do Santa,
Winter
but like a
Wonderland.
winter.
We could have the wise men because when our kids were little, we lived with my parents. And so we would do Christmas with them on Christmas, and then I would do the after Christmas shopping because we were very, very poor. And then we would do our Christmas on New Year's Eve because that was our anniversary. And the wise men brought gifts because the wise men came late.
You do the live nativity. Have you ever done one of those drive-through live nativities? You do it on a walkthrough. You would have the miniature donkey in the manger with the, this is so great. It's all coming together, Ronay.
Okay, I'll see if we can pull this all together by next. I've got what, 10 months?
Yeah, a walkthrough live nativity. Then you just have to get, the wise men out there and the. Does
Oh
anybody
man.
have a camel? Can you comment if you have a camel? We might need a camel. I don't think those are native to our region, but is there a maybe a miniature bison? Can we pass it off as a camel, put a hump on its back? The miniature milking cow, we could turn it into a camel. There's got to be something we can do. I've lost you.
Can't even. I can't even. Like my cheeks hurt.
You're a seamstress. We could make, I mean, we could do this, Ronay. This would be cool.
All right. Well, you guys, as always, it is always entertaining. You never know what's going to be said here. We started out with Lent and now we're already to Christmas. So I'm hoping that you found some value in today. Please let us know how we can pray for you. And if you have a camel in Minnesota, let us know because I might need it next December.
Bye, everyone.